What's up, guys? We're back for the second installment of the 6 things to do during a weight loss, fat loss journey that require little to no effort.
Very little change, too.
Yeah, very little change. And today we'll dive deeper into increasing your protein intake, which I guess for some it requires...
it would be more or less establishing a relationship with protein that's advantageous to your goal.
Right.
When we speak about protein, it's not red meat. We're going to talk about vegan protein, regular protein, and we're not going to shift into the diet aspect of everything, but we're going to show you, regardless of the diet at which you choose to follow, protein will always be a requirement in that thing for muscle. So what would you say for the general population would be a good amount of protein per day?
For general pop?
Like people that need to exercise, but their goal is to be healthy, not...
Between 1 and 120, I would say.
Grams, 100 and 120 grams.
Yeah, grams of protein.
Just in case, grams of protein.
Yeah.
Now, in regards to protein per meal, I usually tell people try to achieve 30 grams per meal. And then if you're going to be snackish, try to be aware of what you're consuming. A lot of people tend to go for nuts for protein sometimes, which is not, that's not an ideal protein source. Your fat content is going to be a little bit too high, and that will spike your calories pretty much. Nuts, just be a little bit more understanding of the caloric value that they hold, and that they're not a sufficient source of protein, but if you're already unsure about your calorie intake, that is not going to be helpful.
They're not like a primary source of protein.
With protein, usually I tell most clients an average sized chicken breast is about 30 grams of protein. There's always going to be variations and fluctuations. But if you can slowly start to understand, learn, and be able to look at a food and give a rough estimate as its macro intake, it makes tracking and dieting so much simpler because now you're looking at a plate, you can loosely calculate what is on it, and that is advantageous to the rest of the day. If you're looking at food, you have no idea what it is. It's really easy to eat 3,000 calories, but think you're eating 2. Especially if it's a little bit more enjoyable food for you. Obviously, fast food is delicious for most, but that is very, very calorie dense.
And it's also like how you eat it too. Like you can have your standard chicken breast. Like if you drench it in friggin' ranch, like you know what I mean?
I use mustard on chicken. Like people are like, ew. And I'm like, how? Mustard is not that bad. There's no calories in mustard.
Hot sauce is a good one too.
Hot sauce is too, if your body can handle that sort of thing.
Yeah, of course. Stuff like that.
So people will be upset. They'll be like, like I've had this said to me. They're like, you're a personal trainer, it must be easy. Nothing about nutrition is easy in the sense of enjoyment of food. I don't enjoy food. I just eat it because it's necessary.
It's fuel for the body.
People will be like, well, I don't want rice, broccoli, and chicken. Okay, what do you want? Well, like we're gonna have Indian food tonight. That's literally variations of rice, chicken, and vegetables. The only difference is the spices and the potential sauce. Learn how to make that and make better choices with sauce, and then you can literally have the food that you enjoy, but it's a little bit more calorie restricted.
I mean, if you look at it, like fat and sugar is what makes food yummy. Essentially. So anytime you eat a yummy thing, it's either full of fat or sugar or both.
Yes.
So like
and I mean there is sauces out there that have no sugar and they're still fine. I mean, I don't want to, what I use is through barbecue sauce.
I've heard about that.
And I mean, I don't use a lot and it's fine. Other thing, instead of speaking about chicken, vegan proteins. Vegan protein, normally if you get a protein powder, it's rice, pea, and like soy protein all mixed into one.
Usually. Reason
being is the amino acid profile of certain isolated vegan proteins, they don't create an entire amino acid profile to be a full protein. So that's why there are several types of vegan proteins. They all work harmoniously together. That gives you a complete protein. So if you are a vegan, vegetarian, whatever protein source you're getting, make sure that you understand what the protein to carb ratio is. Most beans are a 1-to-1. So if you're consuming a bean and it's 30 grams of protein, but there's 30 grams of carbs, you still have to be aware that those carbs will have consequences.
Are carbs.
Possibly not badly. But if it's a 2-to-1 ratio and you're so focused on protein, well, now your carbs are super high. And that's still going to be a calorie increase. So you're just being aware of those things. Understand that some beans need rice to complete the protein.
Yeah.
And you can essentially be a healthy vegan, but you still require protein. Your body still needs protein for muscle building. Muscles require more calories. So having muscle means you can eat more. And eating more seems to be what people want to do.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, protein for a vegan is harder than people think. Because of that reason, like you have to know which one goes which to create that amino acid profile. That's why most people kind of go towards the vegan meat options, which
those are highly processed. I can appreciate the idea of a non-meat meat product tasting like meat. Yeah. But if you look at the ingredients, the majority of the vegans I know, they're very conscientious of the food they're putting inside their body. But you're going to eat like a Beyond Meat burger, knowing that it's highly processed. I mean, go look at the ingredients.
Yeah.
I mean, is it a good protein source? Sure. Should it be eaten every day? Probably not. If you're struggling to get protein, I would say have a vegan protein shake.
Yeah.
It's easier to get in. It requires really no effort, no education in regards to what fits on a plate. And it's utilized relatively quickly. And most vegan proteins don't bother the digestive system.
Yeah.
So 30 grams in a glass is a pretty easy way to hit that 100 gram to 120 gram protein mark for most people.
So if we simplify it all, what have we talked about here? Recognize what has protein. Recognize what a portion is.
Yeah.
30 grams a meal is usually a good go-to.
20 to 30 grams, I mean, everyone's different in regards to weight and size, but it's still a requirement. Your body needs protein.
Yeah.
And the way you should be eating your plate, it should be protein first, vegetables, finish with carbs. Because if you're not hungry and protein is last, you're not gonna eat it.
No.
But if there's a bunch of potatoes or rice or quinoa or whatever, and that's last, it's not that big of a deal if you don't consume it. If you have any questions, we can elaborate further if need be. Let us know. Like and subscribe, and we will see you in the fiber video.
Eat your protein.
Please.